everybody would be driving in.
Well, but everybody's coming into the event from one direction,
Yes,
whereas in regional park, in Houston Square, they're
Everywhere.
coming from every direction.
correct.
That does cause a concentration of people in one place at one time, because they're
Right.
passing each other, they're walking behind and in front of each other. So they're parking in the streets either way. And I really anticipate that, as you've indicated, that the vendor participation is a little down. I'm thinking that the visitor participation may be a little suppressed as well. People just stay
I think
home.
so too.
So I'm leaning, my feeling, I'm leaning more towards the Houston Square location, and that keeps the event in that location, which you've identified as the gem of Castroville.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at the church, you're looking at historic buildings all around the square. It's just, you'd be ashamed to move it out, my opinion.
Okay.
And one thing, because, I mean, Devin, you know as well as I do, the critters out there.
Yes.
Anything that's left there during the night, the critters are going to have a field day with.
That's true. I didn't think
Yes.
about the deer.
The raccoons, the deer, if our big kitty shows up, the little kitties that are out there,
Brian will be on duty, so
yeah, he won't.
If
But-
Devin didn't get
so-
there that night,
Everybody would have to take everything down and get it out of there if they didn't want the critters to get it.
Yeah, I've seen a.
right. Whereas, I mean, we would tell them the same
then-
as we tell them in Houston Square. It's
Right.
you're leaving it at your risk.
Right,
So,
but here in the park,
oh, it's right.
it runs rampant.
Absolutely.
I mean, when my son did Boy Scout camping out there, raccoons woke him up all hours of the night. And then you gotta think of ants. Ants are out all year round. Somebody drops a little peg of food, the fire ants are gonna be everywhere.
Right.
So, you know, and those that are allergic to ants or bees and wasps and everything, they're more prevalent out at the park. So
What
it's
about handicap accessibility?
and that's another thing, because I'm one of them.
Right. The
Yeah.
grass.
Yeah, the grass and everything, it's not gonna be conducive
Right.
for them to be out there and enjoying it as well and
Especially if it's
contributing.
wet.
You know, the ADA thing, isn't really there, especially for restrooms and that kind of stuff.
Right.
I mean, I love the park. I'm part of the Friends of Regional Park, but, and then another thing is the RV people. They're not there to go to this event, but they want to make it to where their RV is, and so how are they going to get to, in and out of the RV park? Because are you going to change this to one way during the day? Because remember, this part here.
Yeah, we shut it off. We've already told them that we would block that off and move all residents, not allow them to use the overflow and then have the back gate open.
Okay, and then what about people, so we're closing off the park totally for 2 days? Because what about people that want to go out to the park but don't want to go to that event, but just go to the park and
What's your
go like fishing or what have you, or,
I guess that would depend on
that's something we've got to look at.
the event. I mean, we have 120 acres of parking and usage, so, I mean, Houston Square is that spot versus 4 times as big.
I understand that, but if we're talking about one access in, you know, once that parking fills up, if they're allowed to park inside the park, and you got people that want to come and use the park but not want to go to that event, are we going to shut off the park for the day for that kind of stuff just to have this event?
No, just let them park on the street and walk in.
But that's the kind of things we need to look at,
Yeah. So I don't think
because we'll have to make sure that's clear to everybody.
I'm more scared of raccoons.
Bring your baby out.
yeah, for those of you online, he said he's more scared of the raccoons. I
Yeah.
can't hear you back there. We
But-
gotta get you a mic.
So those
back
are some of the things that, you know, and the uneven grounds and everything, we don't
Mm-hmm.
need someone to trip and fall and get hurt. And then all of a sudden try to get an ambulance through all those crowds where, okay, that's,
there. Great. All right, so I think that we're pretty unified in go work with city staff. If there's anything that you need to come back to in terms of funds available, then you'd have to come back in front of city council, but as long as it meets with the city staff requirements and you do the proper permits, then I think you're doing a great thing. Please keep on looking forward to finding out what you figure out to do.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
safely.
Thanks.
Safely.
Yeah, safely.
Just remember, go look at Open Texas. It's got great instructions on that stuff.
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah. And this fits, I mean, there's like 3 or 4 different categories that you can fit it in, but it'll work out fine. Great. All right, again, thank you. Doing great things. Okay, so we do have, the next item is presentation of,
Sir,
oh,
let me make, I have one caller, and I just want to
oh,
make sure.
yeah, thank you.
I'm not sure if they're wanting to speak, and I don't know.
Public hearing.
Well, it's not really a public hearing, so I think that,
Unless it's Brian Persino.
oh, you're going to call them. I'm like, oh, you're fine. No, he's been working really hard on this.
Oh, yeah.
That's been good.
Yeah,
It's
he sent it
obvious.
to me and I made it red a little bit. but-
I'm not sure if they wish to speak, or if
You
they're
can do
just
that,
listening. They're not muted, so.
Okay, well, let's just leave that open then. So the next,
Question
yes.
that I didn't address when I was up there. Has the special events permit been changed at all because of COVID? Because how do we know what guidelines we need to follow?
Open Texas. So if you're outside of Open Texas, then the people that are there are in possible violation of the governor's orders. And so as long as you follow that, just read it, know it, and help encourage people. Make sure that you've got people there to help encourage positive action. Masks, hygiene. It's all about keeping people healthy, keeping out.
So we can answer the questions on special events permit as long as they fall within open Texas. Got it.
Yep,
Thank you.
cool. And if you have any questions after that, if you want advice, just give me a holler.
Okay,
I'll help you through it, but ultimately, you just need to go through city staff and it'll be good.
okay.
Mayor, we have provided a form for exemptions to,
No exemptions.
has to
Sorry.
be approved.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do any, again, exemptions to COVID, I don't think it's a good idea. Follow Open Texas. If you follow Open Texas, then it doesn't need an exemption.
Well, it says on there that the mayor has to approve events greater than 10 people outdoors unless they are by the governor, or by the judge or the mayor.
Okay. Let me check with the city attorney and figure out exactly what the ruling is on that. My understanding is that, I mean, if you have a restaurant, Acadiana Cafe has more than 10 people there. Walmart has more than 10 people there. So I'll double check on governor's orders with the attorney. Okay, so just consideration of time, we have 17 minutes and our meeting is shutting off. It's not my choice, it is the online meeting.
Sorry.
Okay, so-
I ran out of one battery, and that
The next item, number 16, discussion and appropriate action on an ordinance continuing the juvenile curfew, thank you, everyone, the juvenile curfew order established in Section 78, Article 2, Division 2 of the City of Castroville Code of Ordinances, providing for severability, penalty, publication, and an effective date. Chief Jackson?
Yes, we still want it.
Yes, they still want it.
We don't want any changes made. It's good the way it reads.
Okay. All right, any discussion?
This is the same one we discussed a meeting or so ago.
Right, we had a public hearing the last meeting.
Right, public.
Not for me.
Okay. You too? All good?
All good.
All good. Do I have a motion?
I move we approve the reinstatement of the ordinance continuing juvenile curfew order established in Section 78, Article 2, Division 2 of the City Code of Ordinances.
Great. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
We'll see you in 3 years.
See you in 3 years. All right. Action number, or item number 17, proclamation declaring the month of October 2020 as Hill Country Night Sky. So Devin has brought this to us. He's looking out for our fun and entertainment, and I just wanted Devin to get a chance to talk about why he feels that this is important, and I want to make sure that we're supporting that.
This is also something that the Chamber of Commerce actually brought with the Friends of the Park to me when I first started. It was something that they were looking into. So the main goal of the Hill Country Night Sky Month is to educate the public on light pollution and to help protect our night sky. So I just have a few things that I wanted to cover. You know, the increase in urban sky glow is responsible for the disappearance of the Milky Way to our night sky. If y'all don't know, we can actually see that from where we are. They measure it a lot by the distance from your metroplexes, but then also 35 corridor is a hot spot for light pollution. Light trespass affects wildlife, such as sea turtles, migrating birds, fish, frogs, salamanders, and lightning bugs, along with a lot of other nocturnal creatures. Messes with their cycles, actually decreases the population, increases other populations of different invasive species. And one thing that was interesting to me, along with annually $2.2 billion dollars going into nighttime sky via unshielded outdoor lights. So this is the cost of, so I presented y'all a chart, but it's 50% of the lights that we have from light bulbs is lost to the sky. 40% or 10% is to the sides, and then 40% is downward light. So that shows you just how unshielding lights affect our areas. Along with unshielding lights, are directly responsible for 14.7 million tons of carbon dioxide waste. So with that being said, I mean, this is just something that a lot of the communities in the area, I know it says Hill Country Alliance. This is all of Texas. That was just where there was groups that were really wanting to push on this, because being near Austin and 35 corridor, they're really getting affected by this. With this being said, I'll make this short. This is just something, this is the first annual month, or the first annual year they wanted to do this. And I thought it would be great for us to jump on, because, you know, as our parks representative, as I am, you know, a huge thing that people come for is the animal life and the sky. People come all the time, walk around, they love the view and just how beautiful and peaceful it is. So I brought this to y'all as a something that we could help promote, and then also helps promote us as an area where people can come, and hopefully future will continue on and the years to come, and we'll grow this and allow for programs. Right now we'll be teaming with other cities, if approved, would be teaming with them on a virtual night sky through some local colleges and astrological societies to provide education to children remotely.
Great. And in support of that, we have a proclamation of the City of Castroville, Hill Country Night Sky Month. Whereas the aesthetic beauty and wonder of star-filled skies are the heritage of all humankind, and locally to the inhabitants of Castroville, Texas, and are therefore worthy of celebration. And whereas the experience of standing beneath a star-filled night sky inspires feelings of wonder and awe, and may encourage interest in science and nature, especially among young people. And whereas the opportunity to view star-filled skies attracts tourists to our region, and therefore economic benefit to Castroville. And whereas, there's a lot of whereases, preserving the rich historic heritage and starry night skies of Castroville is important to its residents. Whereas light pollution, which is wasted light that performs no function or task, and artificial light that goes where it's not supposed to go, is created by glare, light trespass, sky glow, and overlighting. Light pollution wastes natural resources amounting to at least $2 billion per year and contributes to diminishing American energy independence. Whereas the historical view of the night skies has been eroding in many nearby areas, and generations are growing up with limited, if any, view of the wonders of the universe. And whereas the influx of people into the Texas Hill Country region and the accompanying light pollution from area lighting fixtures has been steadily on the rise. Whereas solving the problem of light pollution involves making better use of outdoor lighting to direct light down to where it is needed instead of upward into the sky, putting outdoor lights on timers, and using outdoor lighting only where necessary. And whereas Hill Country communities are increasingly dedicated to the preservation of the region's night skies, as evidenced by the frequent education activities conducted in the region and by the increasing numbers of places in the region recognized as International Dark Sky Places by the International Dark Sky Association, including Enchanted Rock State Natural Area, South Llano State Park, the City of Dripping Springs, the Wimberley Valley, the City of Fredericksburg, the City of Horseshoe Bay, U-Bar U Camp and Retreat Center, River Hills neighborhood of Travis County, and Lost Creek neighborhood of Travis County. Whereas this regional effort and the preservation and celebration of our night skies is worthy of a month-long celebration. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the City Council of Castroville, the month of October 2020 shall hereafter be known as Hill Country Night Sky Month in Castroville, Texas. The City Council encourages citizens to learn about light pollution and why it matters, night sky friendly lighting, and lighting regulations, and to implement practices and lighting improvements that will reduce light pollution, thereby preserving our night skies.
He's already signed it, so it's a done deal.
Okay, there you go. Thank you.
So thank you, Devin. I appreciate you looking out for us and, again, just the overall enjoyment of Castroville.
I did want to make one correction. You said the month of October 2020. I think it's the month of October every year, no?
You read it with
Yes.
the month of every
The
year.
the month of October 2020 shall hereafter be known as Hill Country.
Just, we don't want to make it every
That's
year.
their writing.
That's their writing,
That's
yes.
okay. You didn't do that, okay.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Before this, the Friends of Regional Park, we would have an astronomer come out in May, and he'd set up his huge telescope and everything to encourage, and he would teach them about light pollution and everything like that. It's good stuff.
I like it. Great.
With
Thank
that
you.
in mind, instead of just having a proclamation, I would assume it would be good for staff to look at ways that the city can reduce light pollution. Because with, for instance, when we're replacing our light bulbs and our fixtures, street fixtures, I'm assuming we're putting the same old incandescent lights up, whereas we could switch over like San Antonio has done and use LED lights, and that's also true of the park. You
Yeah.
can go in there and take out the lights at a regional park, use those as spares, and then put in LED lights. So those are things we need to think about as a city.
We actually got rated at a higher level just because we don't have a ton of lighting in the park. That's due to us closing at dusk. But I believe Public Works is changing out LEDs with
You are?
theirs.
Yep.
Along
Every
with
time you have a
shielded
new one, it goes
lights.
up LED.
More economical, John, I applaud you and congratulate you on that.
And
Look at
I
that
will be
proactivity.
providing information online to not just parks and recreation related things, but also the businesses on ways to, they gave me resources to provide to the public. So this will be something that we can also educate. And there is some cool ratings we can give to businesses, but this is all future stuff.
Thanks, Devin. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Devin. Okay, last item, discussion on future agenda items.
No,
No, we have to do the holiday schedule. thing.
gotta do D.
Oh, sorry. Back up. Holiday schedule.
70.
Reverse.
7D. Okay, so we had discussion on holiday schedule.
yeah, basically every day costs the city capital $10,000. So by adding 2 extra holidays, it's $20,000. Now, and these holidays are more than what, you know, you typically have, at least in the businesses that I've worked for, because you're getting 2 at New Year's and getting 2 at Christmas. And if you all want to vote for that, that's okay. Just realize this is a hit to the city, because if people aren't working on those days, you're still paying them. If they have to work, you're going to pay them time and double time. But it is a cost to the city for every holiday that we add to the schedule. So just want you to think about that, and because that's what this had to do with.
Absolutely. So why is the reason that we're proposing the extra holidays?
Well, for New Year's Eve last year, even the prior years that I was informed, it's usually a skeleton crew because people go out of town. They want to take that day off just because it's New Year's Eve. This past year, we had like 2 people here in the office the entire day, so we like closed down half the day. Same thing even at Public Works. And so it was just the fact that, hey, it's the day before New Year's. Most people celebrate New Year's Eve, not New Year's Day, and so why not give them that day? Because technically they're already requested to be off anyway. The Columbus Day, we're trying to keep it more aligned with the federal holidays, and that's why we put that in there. And I understand there is a cost to the city, but you know our staff works so hard every day, and they get burned out at times, and that, you know what, they appreciate that one day off during that month. That, hey, I can actually go and you know, have doctor's appointments scheduled and whatnot, and just not be as burned out as they have been. We get burned out. And so just that one extra holiday will make a big difference. And I understand there's a cost to it, but at the same time, I think every employee in the city. They deserve, their pay. They also deserve their time off to spend with their family as well. So that really was more why we were doing it, not just because it was a cost of the city, but it was more of a benefit to the staff.
Gotcha.
So.
Councilman Shearhart?
How many days does a typical or a regular employee work in a year? 242, 262?
I think in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That's where I'm
I
coming
know they work
from.
2,040 hours a year.
Because I never got a paid holiday
Yeah.
when I worked for the school.
I mean, there was
Just to be
There were set
clear.
holidays, and there are set holidays, and these are
Yeah.
just additional holidays that we're adding. Again, these are just recommendations, doesn't mean that you have to take them.
I understand.
But it was just more of I don't know, it just kind of makes sense on the New Year's Eve, especially the day before New Year's Day. I mean, they're going to be off anyway, so why not just give them that holiday?
Yeah.
So,
But you only let them off if you can. If you can't let them off on New Year's Eve,
Oh,
you have
absolutely.
to tell them no.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, again, they enjoy that time off to spend with family because they get burnt out. I mean, everyone gets burned out here.
Well,
They're just.
Well,
I'm also
something,
getting a little nervous that our citizens who have to work that day.
I take about 3 of these a year, so.
well, I mean,
I take about
I
3 of
just-
these a year.
Oh, 3 holidays?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize that, till I got on council, that they got a good insurance plan working for the city, and they don't pay a premium. That's unbelievable. I mean, even in school business, we had to pay a part of our premium,
That's right.
so, and to have 14 holidays if you add those two?
I think it's 10.
It's 12. It's 10 now, adding 2.
Adding
That's
two?
12.
10 is pretty normal, I think, and,
Or 9.
yeah.
Most cities have 10. Some have
Most
more.
cities have 10.
Yeah,
San Antonio has Fiesta.
I guess the only concern would be like Mr. King talked about, but other than that, if we can overcome that as a group, I'm good with it.
I don't know what you
I've
say.
always said that the way you keep people happy, employees happy, is you make it a place they want to work and they can afford to work. So, 10 or 12, I don't know that it makes a huge difference to us as a city.
I'm a military veteran. I had these days, but yet I was also on call for these days, just like our staff is. If all hell breaks loose, our staff will get called in and stuff will get fixed. So, I enjoy having these days off, like you said, spend time with family. But I also enjoyed those days to where, like Columbus Day, sometimes they have school. I get a day to myself. I can take them to school and I can take a nap to recharge my battery. Don't have to wear that mom-dad hat. While they're at school, I can take a nap, do my other things I gotta take care of because I'm not at work. So I don't mind the days because I know what that work hour's like.
Can it
And
come
with
back to me
two-
again?
Well, we have 2 minutes left. Can I?
Can I just say 30 seconds?
Yes.
50 seconds?
15.
Councilman King said I wasn't clear. I think this is great for employees. I mean, I think you have trouble holding people locally, within the city of Castroville, and so anything that you can do, like Mr. Carey said, to enhance that, the insurance, no premium, that's huge, this here just adds to the cake as far as I'm concerned.
Honestly, I support this with all of the late nights, early mornings, weekends. I never call you guys with something during the week. It's always weekends, middle of the night. So I support this as well. Do we have a motion on this?
I move we approve the suggested holidays.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. Really quickly, I want to say discussion on future agenda items. I would like to ask, council has been working on special projects. I want to, Councilman Carey's been working on the,
Mobility.
well, and let's talk about all of these. We got to fit it in 1 minute. Let's try and bring all of these as agenda items to Deborah. I'd like to get an update on all of those as quickly as we can on any of the special projects that you're working on. Anybody else?
I'll let her know when I've got my material together.
Perfect. All right, great. Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, great. Thank you. Thank you.
7 PM,
Yeah.
What time?
7
Mayor
PM.
Pro Tem? What
At
time?
7 PM.
There you go. Thank y'all.